much better. I just did a live stream. I don't know, about 10, 15 minutes ago, something like that. And I did it with my phone. And the field of view is just so narrow. So before I do anything else, I'm just going to let you know, I'm just going to be sanding my wands, giving observations about them, the wood itself, in some cases. Yeah, the planes are coming in. It's a holiday weekend, so like this one, the almost crow's foot, the trumpet fish, or the squid is almost ready. It's pretty smooth here. I do have some of that inner vein going on, but this is pretty much good to go. So I'm still going to sand it again, because this stuff I want to sand this a little bit, because this end's a little raw, as it should be, but I don't want it quite that rough. It is a bit rough, but it's not. I mean, you're not gonna have discomfort on your hand from this wand, right? The grip. I mean, it's smooth enough for that not to be an issue, but I just want it a little smoother. So, I mean, technically, I could just go ahead and put it up for sale now, but I just want it a little bit smoother, and I've got time, and frankly, it's been so long since I've been able to work on these that I just kind of want to spend some time doing it, because I have missed it, and I got stuff coming tomorrow which is going to take up some of my time. So here, yeah, still usable. Can you see that? Yeah, okay, cool. So much wider field of view, so much better. So one of the things I wasn't sure would pan out with this particular wand was if some of these would, well, one, I was really hoping there weren't going to be any bugs in them. Here you can see some stuff just kind of flaking off still. There's nothing really I can do about that. It could be coming from the inside, it could be coming from the outside. I don't see any signs of termites, because I do check for that. In fact, you don't see it, but but all my stuff now sits on a shelving unit, similar to that one. You can see, well, actually you can see it, but it's just not terribly visible. It sits on a metal shelving unit off the ground to help verify that there aren't any bugs or things like that in it, because that'd be kind of a bad little gift, wouldn't it? You see all the stuff flaking off? Yeah. It's the outer bark. Oh crap, I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, I wasn't sure. I mean, when I came to this, when I grabbed this piece of wand, I thought it was just going to be a carving practice, if I'm being quite frank. But the thing is that, and it may have been, but once I started kind of seeing different animal shapes in it, or, you know what I'm saying, reminiscent shapes of animals in them, then kind of didn't see it as just a piece of junk. And not junk. Junk's not the right word. It's not junk at all. Thing that could be junk. Disposable, expendable. There we go. Because I mean, you know, you gotta get practice on something. And the thing about driftwood is that each piece is just usually pretty different. Now, some of these came from the same. Some of these came from the same longer stick, so that's a little bit different. But something like this, you're not going to find a similar stick to to practice on, really. I mean, it's a challenge when you don't know what the wood is, because there are a lot of different species going on, and some are just ornamental, and some are not. Some are native. Well, technically, there aren't any trees that are really native. You could argue that the koa is, but just about everything on Hawaii was brought to Hawaii, including the people. So, you know, I mean, nothing, at least according to science, nothing got birthed from the volcano but land. So everything else on it, including the dirt that it sits on it, is come from elsewhere. And some of the trees and stuff are good examples of that. Most of the other stuff, most of the trees that come in here are, at least the fruit trees, were gathered from Polynesia. So I say Polynesia, I mean, it could be Micronesia. There are some distinctions, and I'm just not familiar with them, quite frankly. But everything else came from, most things came from Polynesia, not everything. Like there's a weeping pine tree here that came from Mexico, for example. So now let's go ahead and sand the rest of this. This wand just has so much personality. It's kind of cool. I know people are probably laughing at that, but you know, I look at most like wands that I could buy. You could buy some really cheap ass wands off like AliExpress, and you can buy them off of, I don't know, I don't have Temu, because Temu's been associated with the slave labor of the Uyghurs, so I don't use that. I don't use Temu. I'm not saying Alibaba doesn't, right? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there have been exposés on Temu before. And it may be Temu, I don't know. I don't honestly care. But there have been exposés on that. So we don't use it, and we largely don't use it in the household, because my wife was going to, and I said, "Hey, are you aware of this? You should probably just look it up." And since it's been validated, then that's where that goes. And it's not like this, you can say, "Oh my God, you just said something that'll get your video banned in China." Well, who in China is going to be watching my video, right? Probably nobody. All right, we'll set this off to the side, because I don't want to take the time to rinse it, and I'm not gonna waste your time while I rinse this. So we got 7 minutes in. I'll probably just do a longer video with that. Just 8 minutes in. There we go. Not a bad looking wand, huh? Yeah. This was from the banyan tree. This is banyan wood. Pretty smooth. These two are pretty much ready to go. So I think I'll go for rinsing once the stuff is basically ready to go, and I'm just gonna give it one more sanding. Also from the banyan tree. Not ready for, nowhere near ready for sale. Yeah, so I'll probably just do those first, and this one, and then that'll kind of be a nice cutoff point, and I can just, because I have no idea when I'll be able to upload this. My live stream is still processing. Well, I don't do a lot of live streams. Has no upload time, but my upload time on any given week is only going to be, any given video, it's like 20 something minutes long, is pretty much just going to be, you know, about a minute per minute of video. Sometimes the internet's been getting like real shitty here lately, because I'm not happy with our internet here. I'm just saying that. So I'm adding another part to the I'm adding another source point to our mesh, and man, lovely. That's gonna look really cool. To see if that helps. This was not. I'm not ready to get rid of this one yet. The one looks like a shark snout, but it's more like a snake. Kind of the same. I'll probably let go of this one. I mean, really, it's more like a garter snake. You know what I'm saying? This isn't a Cobra. Alright, let's just go ahead and get rid of this one. I've had this for... This is the first time around when I was here in Hawaii, so... Is it... Didn't I? Shit, I don't know. Now I'm getting myself confused. I've had it for at least 2 months. I think this is one of the ones I first started carving into mouths like that. This is awfully smooth to have been recent. Suspiciously smooth. But after this little rinse, it should be ready. Unless I worked on it and didn't rinse it and about to get a surprise. This doesn't actually have to be that smooth. Somebody's probably going to put something in its mouth. A little crystal, sliver. I did come across a crab's claw today. It was broken in a really unique way, so it makes it look like a really long pincher. Really long, almost needle. So I'll probably actually finish that wand, stick that inside its inside of a mouth or something like this. Or... well, this is too big to do that with. It's something similar. Let's see. This one's really cool. Really like the decay pattern on here, which is what it is. Arrested decay. But this, I'll need to trim this out. And this is probably going to be a good candidate for some of my epoxy experiments. Because it's so wide that I can make up a larger thing of epoxy. I've tried to do epoxy with crushed, like opal and... not opal. Quartz, rose quartz, and tourmaline, and lay it in there, but I just didn't get it right. So this stuff I have now is like 5 years old, so that's really not going to work. But this is almost ready outside of that, so there's no point in... guess there's no point working on this one right now. Sorry about that. Oh, shit. I was reminded of this piece. And it's almost ready, but it's too thick. See, it's too thick. It needs to be about this width. Sorry, I lost my screen there. It needs to be about half that. See what I'm saying? This one doesn't have an opening at the end of it from sap, stuff like, or whatever, here, like you can see here. So it needs to be down to a sharper point. So that one's not. That one still got some larger work that needs done. This one, yeah, this one's pretty much ready. Nice little boot, a boot. This little nodule here. So let's go ahead and sand it. Let's get it ready for its final destination. Not the gory kind. Man, I've like spent so much time out in the sun. I'm burnt all over the place. Put some sunscreen on it. So the family that's visiting us lives in the Southwest U.S. right? So they're used to that 100+ degree temperatures and stuff like that. And I was trying to tell them, I was like, nah, man, nah. There's stuff I can pull off in Maryland, or I don't need to worry about sunscreen. If I'm just mowing the lawn, it's an hour and a half. I don't really need to worry about it at that point. I was used to it, And he was kind of looking like, yeah, I got this, I'm like, hey, man. So eventually, we kind of peer pressured him into it, and he was pretty thankful in the end because he was burnt. Try to tell him the sun's a little more direct here. I don't know how. Can't prove it, but you're gonna get burnt. So, and he got burnt. In fact, some of our other family looked and said, "Oh man, you need some sunscreen." And I was like, In my head, I was kind of laughing because that's with the sunscreen. It's like 50 proof, not 50 proof. Lol. SPF. 50 SPF. Yeah, this isn't quite 100% perfect in the thicknesses in some of these areas, but I still liked it. It's good. Nobody's going to complain about it. This would be a good wand actually for carving things on, writing on, because it's smooth, it's level, it's pretty consistent across the board, and the writing surface is really smooth. Some of these are, they have some small jagged points, but this, even before I sanded it, this was quite smooth, quite uniform. I'll have to put that in the description because it makes for a very good decorated wand. And I'll sand these a little bit. I want this little raw and a little rough, but not necessarily where they're going to be holding it. I don't know if you can see that little nodule right there. It's got a little nodule. Just go ahead and a little smooth down. Not gonna hurt anything. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain how gratifying it is once you finally take one of these that, regardless of how much work you had to do, that just turns out nice and smooth. It didn't split on you. I mean, I know we've been working on that dragon looking one, but that's turned out much better than expected. But sometimes I still find something simple and satisfying. It's kind of, which is a word I didn't really use until it's really a word for my son's generation, quite frankly, because the YouTubers started using it all over the place, and that's just not something that you would say growing up, like in at least the culture I grew up in. So, all right, oh, that's really nice. Really like that. Okay, I think that's this one. I'm tempted to take this one down more. It's a little thick, I think, but I'm afraid if I do, I'll ruin some of this interesting patterning going on here, because it's not all grain. Some of it's the decay portion of it too. So I think I'll leave that and just sand it. And this might be ready if it can convince me. Alright, just go ahead and sand it. And I'll come back and show you what these look like wet. Also, because, they get that lighter chalky look to them, and they look very different when they're wet. Now, if you put like a clear sealant on it, if you soak it in there, then you might get the same effect as when it's wet. But a very light colored oil would help do it too. But this is a wand that would be good for carving into also. You could put runes on here pretty easily. Rune staves would be like full on. Rune staves would be hard to do on here. It's hard to do on a wand in general. I used to have videos of what my Shadownomicon wand looked like before it broke. I still have the piece around here somewhere, but that was really hard to put those sigils onto that wand because it was super thin. Super thin. So let's give this handle a little more. I want this rough for the character. The rest of this can be I had a fan sitting up here, but there's no room for the fan and the camera to blow the sawdust away. So I've got a fan blowing behind me that'll help catch some of it. But all right, so go ahead and brush this stuff off. Give you a little look. All right, so yeah, it tends to drown out a lot of the colors when you sand it, which is why you have partially why you have to rinse it, get it out of the pores. All right, let's go do a rinse. Be right back. Might take me a minute or two. I gotta put this down. Otherwise, the sawdust will just start sticking to the table with the rest of the work I have to do. Okay, so very the grains and stuff like really pop out there. A light colored oil would probably darken out a little bit, be the same thing. Same thing here. Really brings it back out again, and it'll be somewhere in between that and the sanded state when it's dry. This is the one we just worked on last. Very different, very distinct coloring when it's... This is the least changed of all of them. The little boot. The boot. So, there we go. Okay, about 23 minutes in. Not bad, not bad. So we'll go ahead and end this here. I'll put these on a rack to dry. And then I'll probably start putting those up Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. So, enjoy. I hope you enjoyed.